You swipe right on someone who seems perfect. They text you constantly, call you beautiful, plan elaborate dates. Everyone tells you this is love, but something feels off. You ignore it because the attention feels too good to question. 3 months later, you are exhausted, confused, and apologizing for things you did not do. The common belief is that you fell for a manipulator because you were naive. But the real answer is far stranger. Your brain was chemically hijacked by a process you never saw coming. A process that researchers like Dr. Craig Malkin, author of Rethinking Narcissism, have mapped on a spectrum from healthy to destructive. You did not fall in love. You fell into a trap designed by evolution itself. To understand the trap, you must first understand how attraction works in your brain. When you meet someone who seems extraordinary, your brain releases dopamine, the molecule of reward and anticipation. Each text, each compliment, each surprise gift triggers a small flood of this chemical. Dr. Stephanie D. Fries at the University of Georgia published a 2021 study showing that grandiose narcissists are exceptionally skilled at signaling high mate value early in relationships. They know exactly which buttons to press. They mirror your interests, your dreams, your sense of humor. You feel seen in a way you have never felt before. But this is not connection. This is a performance, and your brain cannot tell the difference. The dopamine system does not distinguish between authentic intimacy and a perfect simulation. It just rewards the signal. So you crave more. You check your phone obsessively. You replay conversations. You tell yourself this is the one. Meanwhile, the person on the other end is not falling in love with you. They are falling in love with your reaction to them. Dr. Eleanor Greenberg's research on narcissistic idealization explains that this phase is called idealization, and it is the first stage of a predictable 3-phase cycle. You are not a partner. You are a source of supply. The idealization phase feels like a dream. You are put on a pedestal. Everything you say is fascinating. Your flaws are adorable quirks. The narcissist mirrors your deepest desires because they are masterful at reading people. Dr. Joseph Burgo, author of The Narcissist You Know, identifies this as the grandiose pattern, the need to be admired by someone they see as special. But here is the catch. The pedestal is not for you. It is for the version of you that feeds their ego. You are not being loved. You are being curated. Every word, every gesture, every gift is calculated to create maximum emotional impact. Dr. Theodore Millen's evolutionary theory of narcissism links this behavior to early developmental disruptions, a deep, unhealed wound that drives the need for constant admiration. You are not a person to them. You are a mirror that reflects their greatness. And mirrors must never show anything but a perfect image. When you inevitably fail to maintain that perfect reflection, when you have a bad day, when you disagree, when you need support, the shift begins. The idealization ends, and something far darker takes its place. The devaluation phase is where the trap tightens. Criticism starts small. A comment about your outfit. A sigh when you speak. A joke at your expense that everyone else laughs at. You tell yourself you are being sensitive, but your nervous system knows the truth. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's research in the body keeps the score shows that traumatic bonding affects the autonomic nervous system. Your body enters a state of hypervigilance. You start walking on eggshells. You monitor their mood. You adjust your behavior to avoid triggering the next criticism. This is not love. This is survival mode. The narcissist uses intermittent reinforcement, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, to keep you addicted to the hope of the idealization phase returning. Dr. Judith Herman's work on trauma bonds describes exactly this pattern. Unpredictable rewards create the strongest attachments. You become like a lab rat pressing a lever, hoping for the next pellet of affection. The 2015 study by Drive Catherine A. DeGue at Georgia State University found that love bombing is a reliable predictor of later abuse escalation. The same person who once called you perfect now tells you that you are too much, not enough, or both. You apologize for things you did not do. You try harder. You shrink yourself to fit their expectations. But nothing works. Because the problem is not you. The problem is that your suffering is the point. By now, you are trapped in what Dr. Judith Herman calls a trauma bond, an attachment formed through cycles of abuse and intermittent kindness. Your brain is addicted to the highs and lows. The cortisol from the criticism and the dopamine from the rare moments of affection create a chemical cocktail that is almost impossible to break. Dr. John M. Grohol's research at Psych Central shows that narcissistic abuse survivors take an average of 7 attempts to permanently leave. 7. Because each time you leave, the withdrawal symptoms feel unbearable. You miss the person they pretended to be. You convince yourself that if you just try harder, the idealization will return. But the idealization was never real. It was a lure. Dr. Ramani Durvasula's clinical work identifies 15 specific red flags visible within the first 3 dates. But most people miss them because the love bombing feels so good. The trauma bond works because it exploits your deepest human need, the need for connection. You are not weak for staying. You are human, and the trap was designed to exploit exactly that humanity. The discard phase is when the narcissist decides you are no longer useful. They may leave suddenly, without explanation, or they may slowly withdraw until you are the one begging for closure. Dr. Robert Hare's research on the dark triad, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, shows that these individuals lack the capacity for genuine grief. They do not mourn the relationship. They simply find a new source of supply, but often they return. Weeks or months later, they reappear with promises of change, with apologies that feel sincere, with the old charm fully restored. This is called hoovering, named after the vacuum cleaner, because they suck you back in. Dr. Frank Yeomans's research at Weill Cornell on transference-focused psychotherapy shows that intervention strategies must address this pattern directly. The return is not about love. It is about control. They want to know that they still have access to you. And if you take them back, the cycle repeats faster and harder. Each time, the idealization phase is shorter, the devaluation more intense, the discard more brutal. Dr. Julie L. Hall's work, documented in The Narcissist in Your Life, describes the recovery timeline and stages, and the first stage is recognizing that the person you fell in love with never existed. Breaking the narcissistic love trap requires rewiring your brain's reward system. Dr. Kristen D. Neff's work on self-compassion demonstrates that self-kindness is a protective factor against toxic relationships. When you treat yourself with the same compassion you offered the narcissist, you stop needing their approval. Dr. Seth A. Schwartz's research at the University of Miami on identity development shows that narcissists target individuals during identity transitions, when you are uncertain about who you are. The solution is to build an identity so solid that no one can destabilize it. Dr. Amy Brunel's work at Ohio State University on empathy deficits in romantic relationships shows that you can learn to distinguish between genuine empathy and performative empathy. The narcissist's empathy is a tool, not a feeling. Once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. Drive W. Keith Campbell's extensive research describes the challenge phase that follows idealization, the test to see if you will accept less than you deserve. The answer must be no. You must become the person who walks away at the first sign of the pattern, not because you are cold, but because you finally understand that love does not require you to disappear. The trap was never about your worth. It was about their need, and their need is not your responsibility to fill. You swipe right on someone who seems perfect. They text you constantly, call you beautiful, plan elaborate dates. But now you know something you did not know before. You know that love does not arrive in a storm of intensity. It arrives quietly, consistently, without requiring you to prove your worth. You know that the trap was never about your value. It was about their emptiness. And you know that the most powerful thing you can do is trust the quiet voice that says something feels off. That voice is not your anxiety. That voice is your wisdom. Dr. Anna M. Nogales' research on childhood patterns shows that those who were taught that love must be earned are more vulnerable to narcissistic partners. But you can rewrite that lesson. You can learn that you are worthy of love that does not hurt. The narcissistic love trap is real, but so is your ability to recognize it, name it, and walk away. The question is no longer why you fell for it. The question is what you will do now that you see it clearly. And the answer is simple. You will choose yourself.